Now on this episode, guys, you're going to be catching me doing a bit of building in the shed. We've got to fix up the old 80 bus. We've been a bit hard on the gear, as you've probably seen from some of my footage. I've got a few spicy little modifications that we've got going on. We got our reduction gears. We've got low range gear set reductions, which is 25% for an 80 series. And then there's a thing, you can change the high range gears, which will make it feel like you got different diff gears. I didn't know about this until I spoke to Matt, or Matt mentioned it to me. So I've actually got a transfer case with those as well. So we'll have technically 4/5 diff gears while maintaining the 4/1s to keep the strength, because we changed the high range gears in the transfer case as well as the low range gears. We've got chrome ollie axles front and rear with splined hubs. We've got to change my radius arm that's bent. Got a brake leak. I got a broken axle in the rear still. We still got a couple of things. So that's what this episode is. It's going to be a build episode, and I hope you learn a few little things about an 80 series that you might need to know in the future. We've got our 24mm socket to go onto the drain hole here. You just want to crack it and then do it by finger. That's actually still really clean, that oil. I'm currently just trying to get all the wires and stuff off, so that way I don't go and rip nothing to smithereens when I go drop this down. I think this is the last one. I've got a nice little headspace up in here at the moment, so normally it's a pain. As you probably know, I don't have a hoist, so I'm doing everything on the ground. Gremlin. I've taken 2 top bolts off the top of the transfer. I sort of just stuck my hand in there and I felt around. Got 1, 2 here, and I'm just going to check if there's any more at the top first. Then I'm going to put a jack to it, strap it to a jack, and sort of go from there. Right, that's good news. I was so concerned then. I've got it completely separated and it didn't roll on me. My concern is now I've fucked up where I've strapped this to. Every time I lower, it's going to get looser. So we got my second strap on it, and then I've just twisted it so it's so slow and low that it's bringing itself down, and I'm just holding it. Like, it's a little bit wobbly, but I can hold it and maintain it. That's just grouse, baby, that's grouse. Today we're focusing on getting the gearbox out so I can do my clutch. Now, to do the gearbox, you've got to take the starter motor out, so it's easier to do from inside the engine bay. So fun fact, the thing that I just learned about my car, I actually have 1 bolt holding my starter motor in. The second one's not there. Lifted and pulled it and my starter motor just literally fell out. So I've got all the bolts out of our gearbox now, out of the bell housing. We also got the starter motor off. Going to be a bit of a sketchy process, I think. I've never done it before, so we're about to find out how bad it is. I had to go to Bunnings to get more extensions because the bolts on top of the gearbox, on top of the bell housing, I've lowered the gearbox slightly on a slant so that way it's easier to access, but I didn't have enough extensions to get myself to the back of the gearbox, which made it easier. Went to Bunnings, brought the bits, took me 30 seconds to undo the rest of the bolts. So here we are, guys. We're down at Kinsella's shop. He's lending me a hand with my transfer case because I'm buying a transfer case off him and some chrome ollies, and he's lending me a hand to put the low range gears or the reductions into my transfer. that's the first transfer case I've pulled apart, and it's actually not that bad. We've got the instruction sheet here on how to install it. It's just about having the right tools. Right, finally we've got this reduction gear in and put back together. It took us forever. Me and Matt over here just doing night shift now. It's dark outside. All day to get this one on. Now, when we took ages to press it off, and then when we went and put it back together, because we've got two transfer cases here, tried it on this one first, and there's a little spring just in here. So what the spring does is you got these little teeth. They're like a little lock pin. They go down into this. I'll put one in. They go down into there, which helps lock your clutch drive kit and then the synchro. When we pressed the first one on, we actually built it out here and then put it on and pressed it on. And we actually split the spring because we pinched it. The best way to do it is actually build it all on in here and drop your little spring inside and then build it that way and then press it on. Hot little tip, so you don't go and screw a spring up like we did. But we've got it all together. We've just got to torque these up and then put it all back in the transfer case and we're good. We're good to go. I didn't record finishing much because I actually got home at 3 AM last night. Took me ages to actually get it all sorted, but we got it sorted in the end. I'm back home now. I'm in the shed. I'm just doing a couple things. I'm starting to slowly put the car back together. I'm just pulling the remain seal out. I'm there anyway, so I'm going to do a remain seal while I'm in there. They're like 80 bucks or 90 bucks or something from Toyota, so a genuine one, so easier to do it while you're there. Then you don't have to worry about your remain seal again. So as you can see, I've got my screwdriver just sort of sitting in behind the rubber, and then I just gave it a little tap down the bottom there with a hammer, only very, very slight, and it's literally just started sleeving the top off. I should be able to pull that straight out now. Tap the new one in, put the new spigot bearing in, go put the flywheel on, which I got machined. That was same thing, 90 bucks, got the flywheel machined, put the new clutch in, throw out bearing, I've put that in the gearbox. Then we can start putting this thing back together, get it on the road, test those reductions out. I put a little bit of a removable Loctite just on them. It is the removable, the weak sort of one with thread lock, just an extra precaution. Now I'm going to go and torque them to 88 Newton meters, which is what I found online, anywhere from 81 to 88, I think it said. And then the clutch bolts, there's 6 of them. They're only small little suckers, so they're like at 22, I think they said, or 22 to like a 28 Newton meter. Same thing, a little bit of thread lock just as an extra precaution. Used obviously our alignment tool, so you get an alignment tool with the kit. Always have to use that, so then that way the clutch plate, I think it's called, doesn't move around once you try and hold it and put it in there. That just does everything for you. When I bolted everything together, clutch, flywheel, all that sort of stuff, I forgot to put this, I'm not sure what it's called, but it's the plate between your bell housing and your motor that sort of covers your flywheel and stuff to keep it enclosed so it doesn't get any foreign objects in there. I'd pull it all back down, do it again. But we're back to where we were before. Another reason I had to pull it down, the gearbox was too level. I needed to slant it back, which we're now slanted back, and we're going up pretty good at the moment. So I've just got Gemma down there jacking it up, and then I'm sort of just guiding it as we go. So we've finally got it back in. It's like 3:30, 4 o'clock. Only took me like 3 hours on the ground. 2 metal locating dowels that are on the bell housing and they locate into the back of the motor. One of them was like 2 mil, 3 mil off, and it just wouldn't let it go. I will show you the contraption I've got going on at the moment. We just got to work with what we got here. I don't have all the right tools, and look, I just make it work. I just get in, have a go and make it work. I've got no idea what I'm doing, but we made it work. It's back in. Have a little judge of my contraption. You're probably going to have a good laugh at it, but hey, it worked. I got it there. So I've got a strap from here up to that corner of the gearbox up there, because that was the side the dowel didn't want to go in. So what I did is sort of like pulled the gearbox, like twisted it. So when I've got it strapped to my awesome gearbox jack here, I've got it twisted like orientation wise that way. So I had to twist it back to get it to locate the dowel correctly. It was all fine in the splines and stuff. It was in, I just couldn't get the last 10-15 mil, which was really annoying. And then I've got this jack here to sort of help lift the front up to level it, which is also just on a couple blocks of timber. We can pretty much bolt this up and undo it all, and we'll be happy from there. So gearbox is in, gearbox cross members back in now, all bolted on, slave cylinder is on. Ran all my cables back through the top, so I've just put them up in the engine bay. I've run them back through now, ready. And now I'm just putting my transfer case back in, which is a lot simpler hopefully than a gearbox. Doesn't take 12 hours, but we're getting there. We're getting there. I've still got a big list of things I've got to do. I've just taken my rear diff out because I got to get that bit of broken axle out. I literally just carried it from under the car to the workbench. It just fell straight out. I thought I was going to have to punch it out, or I thought it was going to be twisted in, but it's actually, all the splines are perfect still. It's just a nice clean snap. So that's awesome. So I'll clean the face of my diff back up, put some, what is it, gasket maker, or gasket making silicone, in a way, is what I would call it. I don't know. I think the other term is spudgy. Bit of spudgy. Go put a bit of spudgy on it, put the diff back in, and we can start putting all our chrome ollies in. I've just gone and put me spudgy around it. I just use it because I'm a roofer, out of a big silicone gun. Way easier than trying to squeeze a little metallic tube. It always splits on you and gets all over your hands, where if you carry one of them around, super easy. Can't really move, this is it. So now we just need to lift her on up. So we're putting our first chrome ollie in. I'll show you and explain to you what the spline hubs are. Common thing on 80 series, or the rear anyway, so the little 6mm studs that hold your axle in place, they commonly break. So what people do is do a 105 or a 79 conversion, which goes from the 6mm, I think, or 8mm to like a 10, which is a common thing. These chrome ollie axles are something different. So what I can do is, if I ever break anything, I can literally pull the axle out and put the cover back on, and then I won't have any axle in there. So I won't be getting drive, obviously, if it's broken, but I can put the cover back on, and not all my diff oil and everything won't go everywhere. You'll notice in the end here, you got the little teeth, little splines, and then on the end of my new cover, so there's a circlip on the outside of this where I can sleeve this axle in and out and just have this piece individually, but that there will spline into the hub. So theoretically these are more just like a locating pin now, just to sort of hold it there. They're not really going to be loaded up because all the load's going to be on the splines. And then we've got our 300M chrome ollie axle. So we've been messing around all day with the car. We've got the gear sticks back in, low range, high range, manual shifter, first to fifth, reverse. It's all back in now. All the chrome ollies are done. Starter motor's back in, everything's bolted up, tail shaft's in. I'm going to go fill the transfer case up now. Transfer case, and then I'm going to fill up the diff. And we're pretty close to wheeling this car again. I am so excited. I cannot wait. How we doing? We're back, and the reason we're back on this shed build, I will throw this into the transfer case build section. I could not for the life of me get my center diff lock working. It does work, the button works, I've tested all that, which was easy enough to test. So I've got my whole entire transfer case back out, and I'll explain to you how your center diff lock works and what you need to do. You need to have them synchronized together for it to work. So you need to be able to cycle a little gear, and then that will synchronize locked and unlocked. Otherwise you just won't have center diff lock, and then you won't have drive to the front wheels, which is really annoying. But hey, it didn't take too long to get out. Probably took me half an hour to get out. I've got it apart, I know how to rebuild it, so I'll put it back together. So that is your center diff lock, and then up here, this gear here, on your center diff lock, it has a small little one that bites into this, which twists it back and forth to lock it in. Now it locks in a synchro inside there, which will lock into pretty much the gear casing that you've got here. You'll have like 3 high range sort of gears, and then you have a small one and a big one for low range. But yeah, that's synchro there. I tried to do it in the car. You're meant to be able to twist this and it should cycle in, out, in, out. You need to have it synchronized. When you do this, Toyota says to have your center diff lock locked before you pull your transfer out, which is this. So I've got it now in locked. Then when you put it back together, it should unlock and recycle itself. A couple ways you can do it. What I've also been told is make sure you get the full cycle before you go put your center diff lock back in. And then once you have it in, you should be able to use your button to center diff lock everything. So this is your low range gearing. So these 2 gears here is my 25% reductions. Now this was slightly smaller than the factory one, same with that one. And then this is the high range gears I was talking about, this one and this one, which go in turn with this one here. Now they're all slightly smaller to factory as well. We've got everything back in now with this gear on timed up here. So I've got my front drive shaft still there, and as you can see, it's like an open diff. It doesn't really do anything. I'm spinning that like no tomorrow. So what you got to do now to make sure everything's in sync, because there's the 2 synchros on the end of this gearing here. There's synchro teeth that sort of bite together, which hold it to create that lock diff. So I've just turned that to lock it now, and as you can see, I've got drive from the front drive shaft. I believe you've got to put it back in unlocked. Now this is a bit tight to move, it's not like it's an easy thing to move. Just trying to get it unlocked. And that's unlocked there, and as you can see, we're back to doing nothing. So I've just played with this for about 15-20 minutes of going unlock, lock, unlock, lock, just to make sure it's locking into itself together. And we're back to lock now. I'm just making sure it's all working before I go put it back in the final time and have it rebuilt. We're back in the shed again. Wearing a white shirt this time. Different, eh? I know. Normally it's black. The reason I wear black is because I roll around in the dirt, get grease and mud all over me, and this white shirt is probably going to get ruined. But hey, here we are. So the people at Oxbeam have AUXBEAM They were kind enough to send me out some rock lights, so I'm going to test them out, and I will let you guys know what I think of them, fill you in. So far so good. I've already opened the box. I'm a little kid in school. I get too excited. I put one to one of my Milwaukee batteries just to test it, to see how it was, and I'm going to go and put them on this afternoon tonight. It's like 6:30, and hopefully test them out tonight, because it looks very basic to install, which is going to be awesome. Eight lights. They're the large version, which are pretty cool. They've got two sort of LED sections on them, and they're both sort of facing, let's just say, like a 30-degree angle away from each other, which is pretty cool. So theoretically, 2 per tire. There's a Bluetooth app that I can actually go and use it on my phone, so that way if the battery on the remote ever dies, I have a secondary system. They literally just like twist in together, which is awesome. Super easy, super versatile. A rubber mounting mat or bracket, so you don't get metal on metal rubbing between the light and your chassis or wheel arch, wherever the hell you decide to mount them. If you're interested in how long they last, how well they last, message me on Instagram. I'll let you know. So we got one up in here in the wheel arch. Then we have one up there, which is behind the front wheel. I got one here, so that's my sway bar bracket. And then I've got 2 up in there. And then it's the exact same down the other side. So yeah, the sway bar back bracket is probably the only real one I'm sort of questionable about. But we'll run them, we'll try them, they work. They all work with the remote, which is pretty good. And yeah, we'll go finish hiding the wires, zip tying them up out of the places, neatly hiding everything I can on top of the chassis, just where I can to make them look. The way I am accessing it is going up and sort of through where the rear door closes, where the foam seal sort of sits. It's just going to press into that, and then that way I can run everything off my rear auxiliary battery, not my main battery, so I don't ever drain that. I've got 200 amps of lithium back there, so that's going to be perfectly fine for it anyway. And then we're just doing another couple of little jobs while we're out here. Got to service the car. I just changed my transfer case oil. I've done about 1,000-1,500 Ks now. They recommend changing that once you do your 1,000 Ks. So I always manage to rip my mud flaps off. I never capped the end of these on the rear bar off. I've got to put my roll cage joiners in the middle. And when I lean on this one, because I haven't fully welded it yet, down here or over here yet, when I lean on it, it sort of pushes in. I was playing around with it the other day, and I think I've worked out that it's actually this bit here that moves in and out. So I'm going to put a little cap on the end here, and then I'm going to run a full flat plate across to the chassis and weld it onto the chassis, and that will bolt to this cap. So that will pretty much be a permanent piece, and then this one here, which is attached to my rear bar, I'll have to unbolt, and then I can slide my rear bar out. I did have to do a bit of clearancing here to help a bit with it. My tyres have already done a bit of clearancing there for me. So I got my first one all welded in now and pretty much got the mock-up all done properly, which was good because it worked how I thought it was going to work. I used a jack. I got a bottle jack here that I used to press the scrub bar out a little bit to hold it out while I welded it, so then that way when I let it go it was sort of in a good position. I had a little bit of room for it to play before it goes in and it sort of wants to mess up with the door. Gone across, welded to the chassis on both sides. I got a bolt through here, so when I want to take my rear bar off, I take that out and obviously take the roll cage joiner out of the scrub bar, and then it will just slide backwards. So that's just a plate there, and I've welded that nut on too, so that nut will stay there forever. It'll just be the bolt that I just go in and out with. can actually mount my mud flap on this. So we'll wrap that video up there, guys. Nice little build video for you on the 80 series, getting it ready back on the road, ready for tracks. A few awesome upgrades that we've done. Now it's time to go and test them. Hopefully they'll work. Hopefully my bits and pieces don't break, because I'm no mechanic, but let's just hope for the best, eh? Hope you have enjoyed that one, and I'll catch you on the next one.